I think that if seeking out a therapist, which I think can be really good, but I've also encountered a number of people, I think, reach out who have just saying that they've had, unfortunately, therapists just kind of brush it off or just be like really just make them feel kind of like, oh, like what's wrong? They just get over it or something. And I think that's really a pretty awful thing. So I think one important thing would be making sure that the person you're working with from the beginning, like basically making sure that there's somebody who will be supportive and understanding and not just kind of brush it off because like I think it can be a trauma, just like with I think when people talk about female circumcision, when people talk about that, a lot of people say like, "Oh, how traumatic and awful," and I think it is, but I think for some reason male circumcision in the U.S. and I think in some other parts of the world seems to be so normalized that people don't really even give it a second thought. So I think having somebody that you can trust and work on, I think EMDR can be a very helpful one. I do that type of work a fair amount with clients who, may have all kinds of different traumas. It's a good kind of mind-body therapy where we go through and reprocess certain things that have happened in the past. So it's not like clients will, forget that something happened, doesn't wipe them from the memory, but I often get clients like saying that like, oh, like, like, wow, that thing that bothered me in the past, like, just really does, I don't really think about it much anymore. It doesn't really bother me. I'm able to kind of, live my life. So it doesn't continue to haunt them. So I think approaches like EMDR can be really helpful. I'm not personally trained in things like somatic experiencing or hypnosis, but I think those things may be potentially helpful as well. Not so familiar, but I think those types of mind-body approaches can be very think all those kind of mind-body approaches, I think they can be helpful. So yeah, I think there may be other things as well, but that's just something that comes to mind for me, mainly EMDR. Depending on, I think it's good because that one I think can be helpful if a person doesn't really remember the event so well. For somebody who does remember it, I would say that prolonged exposure therapy can be helpful as well, more of an exposure therapy approach. But I think with circumcision, I think a lot of people probably don't really have a clear, but I think as there is some truth to the fact that in the book, I think a lot of people are familiar with the body keeps the score. So I think that's why I kind of like EMDR is a very kind of mind-body approach.